Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Ask a Traffic Cop. It's Friday. It's the 20th of August, 2021, and I'm joined by this guy here, Scott Marshall, the safe driver. We are talking about a bunch of stuff, but before we do, I have an obligatory message. I gotta get that. I gotta get that business stuff out of the way, and I'm gonna do something weird. I'm gonna do this. Woo! Yes. Who said that we couldn't do magic tricks here on the show? Yeah, I'm back and forth we go. It's just easier because the way I got my camera set up, I'm looking at you now when I'm actually not looking at you. I'm going to talk about Vision Zero enforcement team. Well, actually, you know what? Let's wait till a couple of people bump into the room, and then we'll talk about Vision Zero enforcement team. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about roundabouts and stop sign etiquette because it's something that we get asked about constantly, and we're also going to talk about hand gestures, some good, some bad. And there's a lot of confusion. Drivers think they're communicating with each other and not always effective, but we'll get into that. And if we have time, I'm sure we can come up with something to talk about. But let's do that little business with Vision Zero enforcement team. Vision Zero enforcement team is a team of dedicated officers that go out throughout the city. They augment the already good work being done in divisions everywhere. Today, they're focused on 32 Division and 55 Division. And what they're doing, well, they're focused on the Big Four. Big Four are speeding, aggressive, distracted, and impaired driving. They're the driving behaviors that lead to serious injury and death on our roads, and they're the activities or the behaviors that we want to focus on, well, reducing or eliminating because we want people to be safe. Absolutely. If you're curious about what your division you live in and you don't know, you can go to bit.ly, it's ly/div map. That's the divisional map. And you can also find it on the Toronto Police website, torontopolice.on.ca. So with that, Scott, how's your Friday going so far?
Really nice. It's already muggy out. But I'm just glad I have air conditioning. Let's put that way.
Well, the air conditioning in the office is like sometimes working and sometimes not. Yesterday was really, really yucky. Today, not so bad. We'll see how it goes. So hopefully we keep going. Now, for the people who don't know Scott or you, Scott, you've got all sorts of things going on. You are the safe driver. It's. How did you come up with that name, by the way?
You know what? That came to me so many years ago, like 15 more years ago. And I always wanted to have people to become a safe driver whenever I'm training instructors as a driving instructor. And it just kind of hit me. And that's how I started my blog in 2008.
Speaking of your blog, thesafedriver.ca is where you can get all sorts of magical stuff recently edited or assisted with the help of Q.
Yeah, it was kind of acting up. It was like a 3-year-old. And so Q helped me on that. And thank you, Q.
You just reminded me to send an email to Q.
And then this morning it wasn't working. But then it was working. So I think it was the internal server, not my site. So we're all good now.
And since my mouse is not cooperating with me, but since we're on topics of ways to connect with you and things that you do, you have a podcast called the Speed Bumps, the Safe Driving Podcast. It's not called the Speed Bumps; it's called Speed Bumps.
Speed Bumps. And this weekend is episode 50.
It's a landmark episove. So are you? Is there any special celebrations? Are you going to use different theme music? What's happening?
No, I just might have a balloon.
A balloon. Very good. That no one can see. And my favorite thing that you do, not that I don't love everything else, but I love the fact that you're on TikTok now. You crack me up. You've got some great content. And I'm really hoping that people who are watching go to TikTok, go to the Safe Driver and follow you because I want to get you on the 1,000 mark so we can go live on TikTok.
Yeah, I've only been at it for, I guess, 4 weeks, not quite 4 weeks. And I'm at 241 followers, so I'm getting up there.
Well, I've just done is, sorry to cut you off. I'm simulcasting now. You just reminded me to hit the button on my phone. So now I am sharing another live stream on TikTok, and they'll hear you, but they won't see you.
And that's all right. No one needs to look at me. That's fine.
Well, hopefully we'll bring them over.
See me.
Yeah. There you go. And we're I don't know why, but sometimes there's things that are similar about us. People often mistake us.
Yeah, they do. I've been confused as other people, and they talk to me and they're like, I don't know who you are. Well, aren't you? No, I'm not. So
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's because we don't always have our names underneath our pictures. But anyway, so
no.
let's get into the mix. I want to let anybody know who's watching that they can jump into a live chat, and there are people who are in there right now. But I'm going to throw the overlay up. We're going to do this thing, and the live chat will show up if you are in it. By all means, jump in and say hello, like Angela, who is here. Hello, all from Angela. So let's talk about the stuff we want to talk about, which is stop sign etiquette and roundabout etiquette, because although we've talked about it before, it keeps coming up. Who goes first? Whose turn is it? How do I know? Lots of confusion. And then roundabouts, which are statistically, oh, statistically, which are, thanks for Q told me to do something. Statistically safer, right? The roundabouts are supposed to be really safer. They're supposed to be better for traffic flow. And yet I see these looks of bewilderment when people are trying to figure out if it's their term.
Yeah, well, you know what? They are, when you understand the basics of a roundabout, they are quite simple to use. You're following a road, you're entering a road. There's signs at the beginning that says with a one-way arrow, you enter it and you follow to your right. You don't signal to enter, just like you wouldn't signal a curve. If you're going up a road and there's a curve, you don't signal to go around a curve. But what you do is you're now in the roundabout, so you signal just before you exit the roundabout, and you signal right is what you do. Drivers who signal left, it appears that you're going into the roundabout and you're going around and you want to go to the first road on your left. So in a typical intersection, you would signal left, but that's going to confuse people. So you're in the roundabout, you signal right, that's it. And one of the reasons why it's safer is that the speed is reduced. If you're at an intersection and you've gone to many intersections where there's been a collision and there's a lot of damage and there's personal injury, but roundabout speeds, you have to slow down to get through them, and you're roughly doing maybe 30K or even 20K. So any damage is far minor than at a traffic lighted intersection or a stop sign intersection, and the injury is almost like it's very minor. So there's a lot of pluses to them, and they've been in Canada and Ontario for about 20 years, including the smaller rotary islands. Even the multi-lane roundabouts.
Yeah.
But in Europe, they've been over 100 years.
And there you're used to them. Everyone knows they grew up with them. It's not unique, but I find them very rare. And again, people seem nervous around them, and I get nervous when I'm in them. I get nervous because I see the person who's approaching and they look confused. They don't know, should they be just jumping in because there's a spot in front of me? Should they be waiting for me to pass them before they jump in? They just have to navigate their speed, and they could make it very easy.
They do. So one of the things, if you're in the roundabout and you see a vehicle approaching, if you compare their speed as they pass stationary items that are behind them, like trees, signs, and buildings, if you don't see a change of their speed as they pass these items, sound the horn to warn them that you're in there. And there are signs before the roundabout that says yield to traffic in the roundabout. But the yeah, I
You have a real phone.
ringy dingy there that is going to be answered.
Our
The perils
guest
of
star.
working from home.
Yes. And actually, I just want to take a quick shout out. I'm looking at TikTok camera. I got two cameras going in here. The TikTok camera, if you're watching us there, you can hear Scott Marshall. You can't see him because he doesn't have 1,000 followers. So if you go to at the safe driver on TikTok, follow him, because that's how we're going to get him to the right speed. And then you can see him and then interact. We can have him on both platforms. It'll be so much better. But after you do that, you should jump over to YouTube where we are live, and there is an interactive chat. I apologize. I'm not able to interact with the Q&A on the TikTok right now. We do that from 9 to 10, but now we're on the main show. And now that I've been totally disruptive to the main show, going back to the main show.
And back to the show.
Yeah.
So roundabouts are pretty easy to do, and there are, as I said, there's signs at the beginning. We'll often have a sign that says yield to traffic in the roundabout. They are, and when you go into a roundabout that's a multi-lane roundabout, enter when there's space beside, not just an open gap. You don't want to pull into a roundabout beside another vehicle, because you might be going around one way and they want to cut across, which they're allowed to. So it's like synchronized swimming.
I like that.
It's beautiful.
I would sink like a rock. But the deal is that they're easy if you know what you're dealing with, and if you're communicating. And communicating is with I don't see it with roundabouts. There's no hand signals, no gestures going on there. But in stop signs there are, because you get to a stop sign and everyone is trying to figure out their math as to, was I here first? We were kind of close, and then they start waving, and some people are just nervous and they wave everybody through, and it just gets confusing for everybody else. I just yesterday was at an intersection and everyone was doing, well, nothing, and
We're Canadians, we're polite.
but to the point of traffic was just not going anywhere. So I'm like, okay, it's my turn if nobody else is going. I'm by default. Now I was the last person there, but with nobody moving, we got to the point where I'm okay. Someone's got to go.
Yeah. So when I talk to people about roundabout, whether it's a licensed driver, new instructors I'm training, or novice drivers, I do ask what are the two basic rules of right of way. When two vehicles arrive at the same time, the driver to the right should be allowed to go first. And we talk about right of way. Right of way is something that is given, not taken. So I have to make sure the other driver is giving me the right of way, even though I might think, hey, I get to go first. Well, I only get to go first if the other driver lets me, because the only thing that's going to stop them is the side of my car. So when two drivers arrive at the same time, the driver to the right should be allowed to go first. So we need to know that. So that way, if we're the one on the right, then we need to take our right of way when the other driver's sitting there looking dumbfounded, or they're just waiting for us because they know the rules.
So here's a situation that I keep finding myself in. I get there and I'm like, okay, it was pretty close. I'll wave. I'll give them the, okay, you go ahead. And they wave back and they go like, I don't know if they're saying hello. I don't know if they want me to go. So I start to move, but then they start to move. So how does this, is there a general hand signal book of what is right and what is wrong?
Not really. I mean, communication is a two-way street, right? So there's the sending of a message, and then there's the receiving of the message. So do you know what message I'm sending you? So two drivers arrive there, and I'm going to wave that driver on. So if they wave me, I'm going to go, because as much as I like to make new friends, I don't want to keep waving back and forth. And you're going to be sitting there for half an hour, and might as well put it in park and turn it into a used car lot. So I wave them, they wave me. All right, I'm out of here. Just keep the ball moving.
Yes. So yes, we're not doing full conversations here. You want to give it to me, I'll take it and go. Yeah. But I do like you, and I've used it a lot since you first mentioned it to me, which is the whole concept of giving the right of way. It's not something you can take, but it's something you can give, because we constantly see this with pedestrians who, the misnomer that the pedestrians always have the right of way and they choose to take it, but that the right of wait doesn't really agree with that. Bad things happen when they take the right of way and it's not communicated.
That's right. The people who are in a hurry, they feel that, okay, I want to go, or they roll through the stop and they don't come to that stop. So it's a slow and go. So again, we can judge the speed of other people and whether or not they're going to take the right of way from us. So again, I don't have it until I know that person is giving it to me. So here's a skill testing question for our listeners: is you're one of four drivers all coming to a stop at the exact same time. What do you do?
Oh, are we gonna? Let's see if there's going to be an answer.
Yeah. There was a quiz, did
you? I don't have a button for music. Maybe I should.
Yeah, Jeopardy. Yeah.
Speaking of which, we have a new host of Jeopardy, right?
We do.
Which is cool.
Everybody's inside.
Oh, hang on a second. We have Q who says, now Q, are you going to be the song?
Do 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 do. Okay, I'm done.
Okay.
You're done. All right.
Okay.
So when you're one of four vehicles all arriving at the same time, and you notice that, you're going to take the initiative. So if you reduce your speed significantly, so it's obvious that the other three drivers are all stopping before you, that actually helps the process. You'll be last, but you'll actually help the process of getting the person moving. So we only talked about if it's a tie. So the second of the two basic rules is first come, first serve.
First come, first serve, which is first to arrive, first to drive. I like that one too.
Yep, that one works.
And then in terms of communication, I like where we left up to saying that don't question the message. If you get the message, don't confirm it. We're not doing send and read receipts here. If someone says go, don't get to a back and forth. You're going to be there all day. I like the parking lot thing. That's great. And yeah, go. So, but at the end of the day, you have to be comfortable. You have to be safe. We're not telling you to just to blindly follow all directions, because I had a situation where I was in a rental vehicle going. I mean, it wasn't on the road. I was going into a trade show with a rental vehicle, and the security guard is directing me. So based on his direction, I went. And then I drove into something because he was directing me, but he had no idea what he was talking about. I trusted someone to direct me that was not paying attention to the size, and I ended up touching the side of the the door. They had lowered the door. Anyway, I damaged the truck. I damaged the door. It cost me a bunch of money. But if whose fault is it? Someone's waving you through. Well, you as the driver need to be paying attention to what's going on with your vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. And you're the one who is you're responsible for making the decision. Someone might offer you the advice. Who's outside? You go ahead. It's just like the four-way, the four people stopping, and the person to your right waves you to go through, but the person to your left wants to go through too. So just because someone says go ahead, you still have to make sure it's safe to go.
Yeah, at the end of the day, everything you do with your vehicle is your responsibility. And saying, well, the guy that was there before that isn't there now, well, he's the one who told me it doesn't fly when it comes to a collision report. And this brings me back to a conversation, and I'm sure it was also one of your podcasts, construction site in Ontario, where a flag person is waving you through a intersection that is red for you. They have no authority to do that. All the waving in the world should not get you to break the rules. But I understand in different jurisdictions, it's a different rule. I think it was New Brunswick where they do have the authority. Nova Scotia, that's what it is. So different rules in different locations. You need to know what your rules are before deciding to jump into the mix.
That's right. So when I was traveling a lot for my job, I was going different provinces. Before I left, I was just brushing up on the rules that are a little bit different from one province to the other, so as I was not to get a ticket.
Ticket's bad. Collision's worse.
Worse.
Yes. So now there was a whole bunch of stuff. There was this discussion about what was it? It was like I talked about it before the show, and it's momentarily escaping me. Yes, that's what it was. Thank you for waving and hey, Q.
I'm huge. It's massive. Do you remember what the question was?
I just realized what it was.
Okay.
And the whole deal was, it was actually from your podcast, your latest episode. And it's talking about the fact that people are, that's the one. It's the whole concept of being a good example. And you were talking about it in the context of your eyes in the car, the passengers, your kids. So driving, being a good example to them, being a good driver who's not texting, who's not touching their phone, but also stopping for stop signs. And maybe we can talk about that a little bit. And I have an interesting perspective for after we discuss the general topic.
Yeah, so in my podcast last week, I talked about having the fact that your kids are always watching, and even when you don't think they're watching, and they listen when you don't think they're listening, and they listen when you don't want them to, and then they don't listen when you want them to. Right? The fact is that if you roll a stop, even though they're 2, 3, 4 years old in the back seat, by the time they're 16, 17, learning to drive, they are doing copying mom and dad, right? And it's tough for you to set up some rules. Hey, you can't do that. Well, you do it. So you got to have the same rules. If you're going to force the rules on for their driving, you got to kind of follow the same thing.
Are you saying do as I say, not as I do is not a good way to lead?
It's not. It's not something I would put in a banner above your door.
Okay, fair enough. So you've got the eyes in the car, and they're paying attention. Now, it brought me right back to something that it was talked about when I was being trained as a court officer, an auxiliary officer, as a police officer. Throughout the years, I keep hearing, expect that you're being recorded. Anticipate the fact that you are being recorded. Back when technology wasn't as prevalent as it is today, the estimate was that you were being caught on camera about 15 times a day. 10 to 15 times. You walk past a bank machine, they have cameras. You walk past a security camera at a building, they have cameras. And through that, investigators can stitch through. Well, that's no longer the case. 10 to 15, it's probably 1,000 to 1,500 times a day. Every car that you drive past has a dash camera. I thoroughly enjoy capturing things on my dash camera. I see them and I go, oh my gosh. I had a guy on my way to work, I say a person who ran a red light, stale red light, just right through. And like when I park, I'm going to download that because I'm going to use that content. I often get people emailing me their dash cam footage because they cannot get over the deal. Trucker Dad, thank you very much on Twitter. Just sent us some gifts in the form of credits as gifts on TikTok, and it goes into a pile of money that we're putting towards Special Olympics Ontario. Thank you to you. So sorry, as I get distracted by the thank yous. The fact is, we have video everywhere. So while you may think you're doing things and it's in the privacy bubble of your car, you're really not so private. People are pulling out their cameras, even though they shouldn't be, capturing you doing things like using your cell phone or putting on makeup because they think it's humorous and they don't realize they themselves are breaking the rules doing it. But the fact is, you're not alone, even when you're alone. And behavior like the movement of your car, it's being captured on dash cameras and traffic cameras and businesses. So govern yourselves accordingly. It's not just the eyes in your car, even though they're the most important ones.
Yeah, it's really about growing up the saying, mind your P's and Q's, your please and thank yous, but it's minding your manners as well. That whether or not, if you're driving your personal vehicle and someone sees you do something, and if you're in an area that you've got your dash cam and you are breaking the law and you're doing stuff, there are jurisdictions like you can report people, right?
Well,
So
we do have a reporting system.
Yeah, exactly, and it's in so many different communities across Ontario. So be careful what you do, and the fact is that the license is something that I've talked about on podcast and probably in a blog post that it doesn't belong to you. On that license, it says Ontario. You're leasing that license, and you pay a fee every 5 years to allow that lease to continue. And if you don't pay your fee, you don't get to continue using that license. Just like leasing a car. They're going to repossess that car. They can repossess your license if you don't treat it properly.
And things that have changed and are still in flux changing. You do certain things, you lose your license at the roadside right away. And oddly enough, a lot of people have come to really appreciate the privilege they have of being able to get around town as they see fit by just jumping inside of their car and pressing go. And when you don't have that, I imagine life is not so good. I've been driving basically every day of my life since I turned 16. If you took that away from me, I don't know how I'd function. I just don't.
Well, see, now that's the thing, right? So there's opportunities. I do work from home like today. And if I'm working from home because I'm taking my car in for service, it's a nice walk back from the service center. It's a good 45 minutes to an hour. And I enjoy the walk, but then I get home and I don't have a car. So how do I feel? Well, I'm not planning on going anywhere because that's the whole purpose of working from home. But the fact that I don't have one kind of works inside my dome. But if I don't have a license, even though there's a car there, it's the same. It's even worse, really, because even though that there is a car there, I can't drive it because if my license is suspended and there's a car out in the driveway, I don't have insurance. That could saddle, a few $100,000 if you make the wrong move.
Well, first time offense, you're talking $5,000 to $25,000, and that's just the fine. Yeah. That's not including the impact of what happens in the event that something bad happens, not just getting a ticket.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not about when a collision happens. It's not just about the damage to the vehicle. It's personal injury too, and people who are off work and rehab and different things like that. It can really amount to hundreds of thousands of dollars because you blew through a red light because you weren't paying attention. And I know that early in the pandemic, people who were laid off and whatever, they dropped their insurance. There was a lot of reports about it because they didn't want to pay the money because they weren't having income coming in. They weren't having as much income coming in, put it that way. And but you're now putting you and your family and your property that you own at risk because you have no coverage.
It's something that people just, there's a lot of talk. When we talk about insurance things, people jump onto our TikTok, our comments everywhere, and they say, it's so much money. What value do you get? It's such a ripoff, and until you need it, until you're waiting for a check, and it's the only reason you can pay your rent or your mortgage or be able to get the benefits to get the therapy you need. Because there's minor collisions and they happen and they're no fun, but the ones that really are leading to serious injury and God forbid death, insurance is sometimes the only thing that keep you going. So it's a necessity.
The idea of having that, think about it as a life insurance plan that your family is taken care of if you pass away, and you're not using it until you die. So, or fire insurance on your home, or any other type of insurance. I had someone break into my home a number of years ago, and they stole my car.
Wow.
And I got the car back, and no real damage to it except it smelled. But they did steal things out of my home, and insurance covered those things. So it gives you that peace of mind knowing if something does go wrong, you're okay, right? Protection.
But again, you take for granted these things, or you don't see the value until you need them.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah,
and it's tough. It just, all you see is the hurt of the paying the monthly. And I can appreciate that, especially for a lot of the new drivers and people who circumvent the system. They're not really they're actually breaking the law. They're finding ways to skirt getting a momentary ticket. They get pulled over and they give something that looks like insurance. I've had people provide me with a quote for insurance saying, "See, I got it." No, you don't got it. But it's a serious deal. And a lot of people don't realize that we have 3 years to lay charges in relation to no insurance. So we don't have to give you a ticket today. Evidence can, come out much later on that you were driving on a day and time without insurance, and we'll still come after you. So it's not something to be taken lightly. Now, just want to go into the chat room on YouTube, and for anyone on TikTok who's watching and saying we're ignoring you, well, we are. We're over on YouTube. And actually on Twitter and Facebook and Q is actually taking care of people. Sorry, Q is taking care of you. My bad. You're not being ignored. I'm ignoring you.
Q's not being ignored. Q is rocking the boat there.
She's on it. In line. But I want to go through and see what we have here in questions on our YouTube, our Facebook, our Twitter, even on Twitch. We're everywhere. We're everywhere. And I'm working on
watched, just like you said.
This is true. See how many people? So many people. And we're actually working on getting onto in LinkedIn. That's what it is. They have a LinkedIn live option. We're working on that as well. What? So okay, I have to add you on LinkedIn. I didn't know you're on LinkedIn. Apparently, the new host has quit. Wow. Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what's going on here.
Q was going to be our host, and then Q left. That's what.
And she left. Oh, interesting. So here's something from Joyce, and she. 1 second. Q messaged me, and she's blocked the screen. So, do you honestly feel that all the filming happening has contributed to enhancing the humanity behind wheels and those arguing with Karen and Ken's in Walmart parking lots? That's from Joyce, a regular contributor, listener, commenter. Thanks, Joyce, for the thing. Do I think that having cameras keeps people nice? I do think so. I think people, when a camera's in their face, generally change their opinion and their behavior. And that kind of just slides right into automatic speed cameras and red light cameras. To having them actually change behaviors, I think so.
I think, yeah, if there's signage that says, red light camera, people do notice them, and I do believe that they do make an effort. Not everyone, but I do some. Just like security cameras in businesses, things like that with warning signs. As far as everybody has a phone out, or almost everybody, and whether they're texting or not, it's in their hand. So I just think that people are so used to seeing someone with a phone in their hand, they don't necessarily realize they're being filmed.
They're desensitized.
They are. So when even when I did Canada's Worst Driver, and we've got these cameras on the dash and behind, and seeing different angles of the driver and out the view of the windows, they all forgot they were there. And that's why we got some great footage of just how bad they were. Because again, desensitized about it. And so I think it's to some point, I mean, that was a great question that Joyce has. I think at some point they are, and I agree with you on that one, Sean. I think that dash cams aren't seen.
True.
And because of that, we are getting some pretty good footage. That could be a new website for me. I don't know. And just to what people do and why they do it. I saw someone with a Bugatti weaving in and out of traffic and tailgating yesterday.
Wow.
It's like, really? Why would you do that to your expensive vehicle?
It's like $3 million for that car. Why would you
Oh.
risk scratching it, getting dust on it?
I know, and stones kicking up. Like yeah. It's about respect for your vehicle as well as respect for the others, and respect for yourself.
It boggles the mind. But I see on TikTok, and we're tagged in it all the time. And thank you to those who reach out and tag us on all these wild videos where people are not only are they holding their phones while traveling, or while driving, but they are sending us. They're posting to the world to see themselves doing 250 kilometers an hour, 170 kilometers an hour in Toronto. It's very visible where they are, but they're giving us all sorts of great information, and they don't realize they're providing it to the world, and the world is watching, and they're not impressed. So if it doesn't take long to click around and see who they are, and write them a letter and say, hey. So
yeah, exactly. And when they find out that their insurance is $10,000 a year, or that insurance companies will deny them, saying, no, we do not want you as a customer. And they have that right to do that. TASCO will tell us that too.
And then they are pushed into the realm of facility insurance, right? Or can they be denied that as well? I was under the impression that facility was truly for everybody.
I think they can be denied.
Really? So okay, I stand corrected, or I may stand corrected.
Yeah, they become a high risk, or if they're not denied, I believe it's such a high premium.
And that's where I thought facility was. That's sort of the community pot from all the different insurance companies where they band together to provide insurance, albeit astronomical, to high risk drivers. But if you are put in that pile, that says something. It says that you've done something deserving of the unfortunate truth that nobody wants you as a customer.
No.
That's quite an achievement. Anyway, big plans for the weekend?
Family barbecue.
Family barbecues are good.
My sister's coming in from Nova Scotia today, and so we're having a family barbecue, and gonna enjoy it. It's supposed to be stinking hot again. Gonna work on tanning the dome some more.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, I look forward to unwinding and doing absolutely nothing, even though I have lots of things to do. No, it's a fantasy I have where I do nothing, but it never happens because I have many people who rely on me, and it is their time with me when I'm not at work. So I'm going to be very busy, but I pretend that I'm going to be very relaxed.
But that's a good thing when you get to be with the family, and
it is,
and especially when the kids are young, because eventually they get older,
and they don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah, they don't. Oh, they'll send you a text message when they're sitting on the couch next to you.
Nice. I get that now. So very quick, a funny story. Well, actually, no. I'll tell you it's the offline because it's actually not a quick funny story, but it is a funny story. And now everyone's going to be like, "Well, come on, why don't you share?" It involves. Okay, here it is. My brother did something, and my youngest wasn't impressed. And my brother lives in Los Angeles, and he's hard to get a hold of. He's a busy guy. So my little one wanted to challenge him. So she says to mom, call Uncle Ryan right now. And she says, well, Uncle Ryan's really busy. I don't think he's going to answer. She says, where's my phone? My daughter has a phone she uses for playing games. So I'm going to call him. I'm going to FaceTime him. And then she finds me elsewhere in the house, and she hands me the phone, and she says, put Uncle Ryan's number in my phone. I'm calling him. I'm like, why are you calling him? Oh, I have to tell him I'm not impressed. I'm like, this is a 4-year-old. Anyway, she called, he answered, and you know what? He fixed the issue. So it was pretty funny. For everyone who is watching, thank you for spending time with us. It's always a slice. We love our Fridays with Scott, and he is available on Twitter at Safe Driver. We have the TikTok Scott, who could be reached at the Safe Driver. And again, we are trying to get him to 1,000 so we can go live on the TikTok. And that's our major goal. It's a goal.
Driving tips with humor.
Oh, yes, I appreciate your humor. I have a lot of fun with that. So get him there. You can go check out his blog, thesafedriver.ca, and of course the very how do we say this? Incredible, magical, spectacular. I don't know. It's so many good words we can use to describe your podcast, and that is Speed Bumps, the Safe Driving Podcast, which I am a subscriber and check out every Sunday when it comes out. I get those little alerts, and I go, "Yes, I got something. I got something to listen to."
Nice.
It's good, and you can listen to it while you're driving because it stores on your phone. You don't even burn your data, and it's good information.
It is, and less than 15 minutes in most cases.
Absolutely, and you know what? Sometimes I wish it was longer, but you can watch them all together. You can start at 1 and watch the almost 50 after this weekend, right?
Yeah, it's like a mega series.
A mega series, yes.
Yeah.
Lambton County says hello and thank you. They enjoy the content. That's great. Thanks to Lambton County for jumping in and watching. We were watching. I was watching the live stream yesterday on TikTok from our friends in BC. We've got so many folks that are interested in the same thing, that are into traffic safety or policing from all over. They reach out. It's this creator community when it comes to police officers and police agencies. It's really amazing. It's growing all the time. We love the interaction and the collaboration. I saw our friends from Highway Safety Gang. They dropped in earlier and were watching. Sorry, I didn't get a chance to say hello earlier. I want to take a second and also mention before I forget and get into all the hellos. We got some stuff. We got our TikTok, the Toronto Police Traffic Services TikTok at Traffic Services. You can get us on the Twitter. The Twitter is Traffic Services. The Instagram is Traffic Services Toronto. Of course, YouTube, where many of you are watching right now, is Traffic Services Toronto Police. I wish there was I just want at Traffic Services for everything, but no, I can't have that. What can I say? Going back into the chat room just to close it out. Thank you so much for everyone who's been jumping in and saying hello and participating. It really is awesome, as Angela said. Perfect timing.
Words.
Yes.
I think that's
Angela had some questions. I think they've all been answered in the chat already. Let's see here. It was a question about body cameras. Do police wear body cams? And there was an answer from Amanda, who's an auxiliary PC at Traffic Services, saying that Toronto cams are rolling out, but not completely across the board yet, but will be. Yeah, we are working diligently to get them deployed. It's a training thing. It takes time. It takes time, but we will get there, and everyone loves them. We truly love having yet another camera on us. And I don't, not as a joke. It's the best evidence. You say something to someone, they say, "Well, you were being mean to me," and then I got the "No, I wasn't being mean to you" camera evidence on my chest. So
I
look forward to getting
one. Cam on your chest.
It's a chest cam. Yes, it's a body cam. Wait, they're called body cams for a reason. Anyway. Let's wrap it up. It's been a blast. Thank you so much. Fridays are always fun when we get Scott's thoughts, and that was the Brandon dubbed the episode Scott's thoughts. I need to get some graphics.
I have no more thoughts. I am thoughtless.
Thoughtless Scott. All right. Well, have a wonderful weekend, Scott. We'll talk soon, and we'll do it all over again.
Ciao.
Ciao for now. All right.